'cause I'm aware with you is better than all alone. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, oh, oh, tonight we're stars, but we'll fade away. Go on and light me up, oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up, oh, come on and light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down, so before we come down, down, down. Go on and light me up, oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up, oh, come on and light me up before we come down. Between now until we go home. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, oh, oh, tonight we're stars, but we'll fade away. Oh, go on and light me up. Oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up. Oh, come on and light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down, so before we come down, down, down. Stars will always come down. Go on and light me up, oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up, oh, come on and light me up before we come down. Go on and light me up, oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up, oh, come on and light me up before we come down.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explore right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into PGR Esports Live with some Thursday night money racing in the third round of March Madness. That's right, it's the Elite Eight, and joining me in the booth tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the PGR Esports third round of March Madness, the Elite Eight. Getting ready for some good action here tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You're watching Austin Green alongside Dawson Wise and Matthew Baker here tonight. And again, as the drivers get gridded up and we get ready to go. Good to see you guys back in the booth tonight. Dawson, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Can't wait. Elite Eight of March Madness. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Head to the World Center of Racing. It's always provides some really great action for us. With the stakes on the line tonight, it's going to be a good one.
Certainly is. Baker going to be double dutying on race control here from him here in just a few moments. But before that, let's get right into your starting grid here on the night and then talk about some of those head-to-head battles. Only two more again. The Elite Eight, so we're starting to narrow things down here. But again, only a couple more battles head-to-head before we move on to the championship round here next week. So we'll talk more about those in just a moment. But it is Kevin Freese who will start on the pole tonight at 51.9 is the lap he puts down here at the World Center of Racing. Cody Nagels to his outside. He will roll off in second. Back in third is Andrew Navarro. Fourth, Matt Lee. Jeff Merck in fifth, Dylan Jones in sixth. Ken McCullough Jr. in seventh. John Mullahan in eighth. Garrett Maines ninth. And Michael Triscaro, series owner. He will roll off from that 10th position.
One of the Elite Eight tonight, Colin Bowden rolls from 11th, Mike Davenport in 12th. Dustin Carruthers will roll from 13th. To his outside, the most recent Coke Series winner, Malik Ray, will roll from 14th. Nash Brambilla will start 15th with Sean Corbett. To his outside in 16th. Row 9 will be David Sheets in 17th, and Logan York in 18th. And rounding out the top 20 will be Trevor Osbornoff and Richard Elliott.
Starting 21st tonight, Matthew Patton. Remember, he's almost the underdog pick so far. He has been continuing to make his way through the bracket so far with no issues, despite a lot of people thinking he was going to make an early exit. Watch for him to be a factor here again tonight. J.R. Miller rolls off 22nd. It's Philip Wilkinson back in 23rd. Ryan Baste will start 24th for KSR. Mark Vondell 25th. Tucker McClendon in 26th. Ron Morris Jr. in 27th with Matthew Baker race controlling, just joined as driver tonight. So Kyler Wynn in 29th and Jason Maines rounding out your top 30.
John Ward will start 31st, another one of our Elite Eight. He'll go up against Kyler Wynn, who he's starting right behind. It'll be Josh McCullough starting in the 32nd position. Brock Westmoreland 33rd, Chris McCullough in 34th. It'll be Thomas Parker and Tony Cox on row 18. And rounding out the field tonight, Ryan Newman and Joey Galati. Can't
forget about Jimmy Emos in 39th as well. But with that, let's break down your race info here on the night. Again, it is the Elite Eight third round of March Madness. We are back in the Craftsman Truck Series after taking another stop in the Gen 6 Series last week. Boy, what a race that was. We're going to be back in Dawson, as you like to call it, the bread and butter series here for PGR tonight. 48 laps the scheduled distance, 100% fuel. Everybody does have unlimited tires, one fast pair if you need it. Fixed setups as always, 3 green-white checkers. Daytona International Speedway, 2.5 miles in length. Track temp very cool tonight, starting at it looks like well under maybe 90 degrees. Looks like it's about 85 degrees, so handling not going to be an issue tonight. Partly cloudy skies, and we are going to be transitioning into the night as this race goes on. So here we go. Couple more head-to-head battles, all in the battle to crown a champ the end of March. And with that, another great night of racing gets going right now. Green flag is in the air at Daytona. Two around in the back. That'll hold off our side-by-side action for a minute, or rather our non-stop action from him as the 0-1. Ooh, Joshua McCullough sliding down the track. No caution, as again, it was only 2 trucks out of the way here. Everybody else able to make it by. Ron Morris Jr. looks to be the other truck collected. We'll get more on that in just a moment. Back up front, though, as lap 1 is going to be completed here. Looks like 2x2 for the most part. A couple trucks struggling to find a spot in line. 3 wide just for a moment, a little bit further back. But ultimately, everybody's still trying to get settled in. Andrew Navarro, the leader on the inside. Kevin Freeze, the leader on the outside. Nagels with a big shove. No help yet from Matt Lee. They're not going to need it. Kevin Freeze will get clear. He jumps to the bottom. New leader down the backstretch.
Everybody 2x2 so far, but hold that thought. Up on the outside, couple of trucks further back. Can't exactly tell which. That's Michael Triscaro in the 34, but now Malik Ray says, nope, going right on by. That third line was not working, so Malik jumps back in line. In the Hendrick car, Chevrolet Silverado, about 6 trucks deep up on the outside. For now, it'll be 2 wide with the exception of Triscaro. Freeze Nagels continue to lead the way with Navarro and Lee in tow. Dylan Jones, Jeff Merck, good runs for them to start the night so far. And as we start to look for our bracket drivers, you'll notice the best battle on the racetrack, I think right now, is going to be Freeze and Bowden. They're separated by about 5 rows as they come out of turn number 2.
Yeah, and still no real action forming up anywhere between the front half and the middle portion of the field. Further back, you got a couple of stragglers, if you will, trying to get the third lane going. Looked like Jason Maines took a couple of peeks out. Now going to be maybe a couple more takers. Michael Triscaro looking like he's ready to flex a little muscle. He's got a teammate there, Mike Davenport, the 55. He's going to jump out of line as well. 2 Chevys tandem together for a moment, but they're quickly going to jump back down to the outside line. Colin Bowden sitting back a little bit. You see Malik Ray's going to drop down just in front. I think those two are getting paired up, but also, Dawson, I think they're noticing that 10 car, Dustin Carruthers, is blinking a little bit on the outside. They're maybe not liking that too much, and they're going to go ahead and back it down a bit.
Yeah, a bit of a problem early on for the 10 of Carruthers. Now, he does seem to have it solved, at least from what I'm seeing so far, so hopefully everything is all good there. Outside starting to roll. Ozerant's about 10 rows deep. He's leading it right now in front of Jason Maines, Kyler Wynn, and John Ward. And it's notable the 82 and the 92 hooked up on the outside now because they are up against one another. They are 1/4 of our March Madness bracket. They are up against each other, but trying both to get to the front. Right now, just trying to help each other get there, but once they do, not much helping going on there. New leader at the front, though. How about the bottoms push? Jeff Merck goes to the lead here on turn number 4.
Yeah, working the lanes right now. I mean, that's what you got to do as the leader here at Daytona or Talladega. But, you know, we don't come to Daytona too often, Dawson. A little different here tonight. Again, just about the same distance track, a little bit shorter, about 0.15 miles shorter, in fact, but banking all the same. The biggest difference, though, and these drivers are going to notice this, is that it is narrower than Talladega. 4-wide racing, not really something we're going to be talking about here tonight. Certainly we'll be talking about 3-wide quite a bit, especially as the race progresses. But in order to do that, you're going to have to be really careful, keep the truck tight down in the corners. And as they're coming up on the lapper of Joshua McCullough, remember, he was involved in that first lap incident, and that they're getting ready to go by. I think he gives us a chance, while everything's pretty calm, to go back and take a look at exactly what happened here to Joshua McCullough, who seemed to have a pretty good run going. You see the 0-1 just in front of Kyler Wynn.
Sorry to cut you off, Austin, but Kyler Wynn's involved in several other trucks. Ryan Based, as McCullough got past, they went 4 wide, and it did not work.
Yeah, certainly doesn't look like it did either. That's Mark Vondell slow on the apron. Big damage to Matthew Patton, one of the underdog picks coming into tonight. The Hyper Motorsports driver immediately going to roll into his box. Won't even try to drag that thing around the track another lap. So he's going to take his one fast pair here early. Mark Vondell in his box as well. Philip Wilkinson. I mean, yeah, whatever this one was, it collected a lot. Dawson, you caught it as it happened live. So let's go back and see exactly where everything went wrong here. And, you know, we just saw Kyler Wynn was potentially involved in that first incident. And this incident looks like he's going to be on the receiving end. Again, we don't know exactly what happened with the first one, but we saw the 82 in proximity. We'll go back and take a look at that in a moment. But here you go. We talked about how tight 3 wide is here in Dawson. It looks like it was just starting to sort of develop. You see the 73 of Ryan Based for KSR. He's got a little bit of an arrow push out back from Michael Triscaro. He's trying to suck up to the bumper here of Kyler Wynn. And, just tags him. I got to be honest, Dawson, I think he was actually trying to drop in that gap. The gap was there. He was clear of Jason's bumper. The problem is that gap was so tight that as he goes for the gap, he gets to the left rear there of Kyler Wynn. He's able to miss him the first time, but now I think Kyler's maybe also thinking about sliding down in line as they're trying to get around Joshua McCullough, and they just kind of run out of room. Once they get together, a couple trucks hard up into the outside wall, Matthew Patton and Ryan Based, and then you're going to see Kyler Wynn slide down the track here, nowhere to go. For a lot of these guys, you see Philip Wilkinson, first man to arrive on the scene, and his number 4, KSR, Ford F-150, and then further back, it's just everybody trying to dodge the wreck. Just not really anywhere to go. Mark Vondell spins. I don't think Kyler Wynn got too much damage, but certainly enough to where he's going to have to go and get it bandaged up.
Yeah, I kind of just caught it. I thought it was because of the McCullough machine. It kind of was. They were trying to dive out of line and get back too wide. They just saw it a little bit late, and unfortunately, as Kyler comes down, I thought they were going to get away with it, but Jason Maines in the back of Ryan Baste, obviously really tough to check up there. It was an awfully quick developing incident, so not much he could have done there. Unfortunately, pushes Baste through win, and it's on from there. And there's some big hits in this one. Matthew Patton, Philip Wilkinson, both hard into the wall, one on the outside, one on the inside. So some hard hits early, and that's for Matt Patton especially. That's not what you want to see early in this race.
No, it certainly isn't one of the underdog picks. You know, he had a lot of people rooting for him here tonight, and not just that, but I saw a couple of the blind squirrel racing trucks potentially involved in this one here. We're going to take one more look here. We're going to actually slow this down a little bit, and I want to go back to see if we can't get a view here with Matthew Patton, or rather focus on his truck, because he is, as you noted, going to take one of the bigger hits in this wreck. Now, since he took it to the pits, I don't think he actually lost a lap because he was able to get back out of the pits. We'll find out in a moment. Yeah, in fact, he's 13th, so things worked out pretty well with that one fast spare. Here's the zoomed-in view, though, there, as everybody's just trying to save it. And does Michael Triscaro sneak through? No, he doesn't. You saw him pile in up top, just nowhere to go. There's the big nose damage to Matthew Patton. And then Trevor Osnoth is going to tag Michael Triscaro as he's hard on the brakes, trying to get his truck woed up. And then as Patton comes down, a couple people trying to slide through. Looked like the 15 had a shot at it there, but boy, that hole quickly closed up, just nowhere to go. And as you kind of expect, anytime we're at a super speedway, Dawson, it looks like the big one's going to strike early here tonight. Collects a couple trucks, but everybody going to be able to get back out and running as we get ready to go back green here with 7 laps complete.
Well, the fast repair is clutch. I mean, we haven't had it before in the trucks, at least in a while. I know that had kind of gone away for a little bit. It comes back tonight, and for a guy like Matt Patton, who we've talked about, and John Ward too, and Kyler Wynn, who all are going to have damage out of this now. I don't think Kyler's got enough to take a fast repair, but John Ward might have. It was awfully close. And obviously, Matt Patton going hard into the outside wall right there. It's a big time clutch factor for them. They're able to get another truck and just kind of regroup and figure things out as they get ready to go back green, as they try to work their way back from this early setback. And man, Trevor Oswald up front, like his teammate Carruthers, really having some problems with Blinken leading the race.
Yeah, I noticed that, and that's not going to be a good thing to have as a leader. Everybody's relying that they're able to push you and you can hold the truck straight. Well, if you're Blinken, it's not going to be too easy to do, and you see Navarro there actually riding on the apron. I think he's trying to keep his distance from Osranoth right now to see if he can get the connection straightened up. But Trevor Osranoth, one of the guys that we do have on driver cam here tonight, running up front early, and just on his outside, going to be rolling off second on this restart is Jeff Merck in the 60 machine. He is another one of the guys that we have carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. By the way, while we have a quick chance, carrying a new camera package on here tonight, courtesy of we'll keep it anonymous for now, just in case. We got certain sponsors watching that don't like to hear that. But nonetheless, camera package tonight, courtesy of a driver in the field. And with that, we got a couple new things changed around here tonight, including the audio setup. So let me know how everything sounds and looks, and hopefully it's not too bad. We'll continue to hammer it out through the next couple weeks as PGR continues to get a couple big things set up, Dawson. I mean, exciting time to be joining the PGR team. How about the first podcast of the Money Stop getting released tonight? Well, actually got released tonight, got made a few days ago, but heard there was a lot of good content on there. Of course, Michael Triscaro, Matthew Baker, a lot of special guests going to be joining throughout that series. Garrett Maines being the first one to tune in, so make sure you go check that out at home if you got some free time, and certainly looking forward to watching that myself.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what they have going on there. As we get ready to go back to green, lap 9 of 48 in the Elite 8 of March Madness. Oswald Merck on the front row. Oh, a bit of a checkup on the outside. Let's see what that does. That third truck in line. Green flag is back in the air, and we're back underway, and up through the gears they go towards turn number 1. I'm looking at Jimmy Emos. He's really struggling early in this run in the 98.
Yeah, he is, but 2x2 right now, and now fading to the outside, that 98 machine that you just talked about. He is not going to get any help here as everybody's still trying to get up to speed. He's going to the back of the line, got a hold of straight wheel. He gets into the wall a couple times as Malik and Nash Brumbill are going to skate by, as does the rest of the field, without any further contact. Meanwhile, up front 2x2, that did create a little bit of forced 3-wide action. We'll see how long that lasts as the 10 still blinking in the middle of the pack. Malik Ray, Nash Brambilla still stuck on the outside 3 wide. Looks like Colin Bowden's going to be able to jump out of line 2 as they enter turn 3. He'll pull those 2 along. Maybe get Malik clear to stay back 2x2. No, they're going to keep it 3 wide through turns 3 and 4.
No surprise, Colin Bowden is on the move. He sees Kevin Freeze up front, second up on the outside behind Jeff Merck, and he's going to go try to find him here early in the race. Colin Bowden, the 24. He's going to bring Garrett Maines along with him. Up goes the 1 to the outside. Now 3 Coke drivers lined up in the outside. Nash Brambilla along with them. The middle will lose all of its run. Osmanoff back to the lead. Does this allow Navarro to get clear up in front of Merck? It does. Osmanoff throws a block. Osmanoff in the middle of the block. Navarro. Now McCullough leads the bottom, and Maines leads the top. And Osmanoff, man, he's throwing blocks, but he's still blinking here at the front of the field. And they start to weave off towards 3. He's still blocking, headed towards turn number 3.
Yeah, the 89 very aggressive. He knows how important this track position is in a field this strong, but the 3-wide action is going to stay just as strong as the blocks down the backstretch by the 89 as they work through 3 and 4. Nobody going to get clear as they work their way off of turn 4 down the short chute into the tri-oval. But on the outside, what was 3-4 trucks a minute ago is now faded down to 2. Garrett Maines, Colin Bowden, 2 guys that we know aren't the best when it comes to working with each other, but right now trying to see if they can both just simply find a spot back in line. Malik Ray going to burp the throttle. He will let that 24 hop back down in line. They both jump just in front of Cody Nagels. Kevin Freeze going to do the same as he helps his teammate Garrett Maines out. Now that leaves Nash Brambilla and a couple others stuck up top. Back to 2x2 up front, but even further back, Dawson, we're starting to get a separation of packs here. And that second one right now being led by the 3 of Matthew Patton. Do you think this is by some design?
It could be. Obviously, Matt Patton, it was involved in that first big incident, and I would not be surprised to see him kind of just hang back. It's almost a really smart play by that driver to stay about a second off the field, say, you know what, these guys are going to race hard. I'm going to let them do it, and I'm just going to capitalize if they decide to wreck again, which I'll tell you what, they are all over the place on ice skates here at the front of the field, so probably a smart play. There's no trouble. Around goes Trevin Osmanoff right in front of the entire field. Is he going to get ghosted through? That's a weird look, but Osmanoff is around, and the caution flag is out again.
Oh, man, and unfortunately, you knew that was just a matter of time with all the blinking that was going on up front. Not sure if that's what caused it, but certainly got to think that there's a good chance it may have contributed as the 89 comes to a grinding halt there on the apron over in turns 1 and 2. And the winner from just a couple weeks ago, when we're back to the Gen 6 cars, not getting too much love here early on in the race. You saw the little shake of the head. That might give some indication on if he didn't feel too pleasant about what just happened here in this wreck. Let's go back and take a look at exactly where the contact first started here through 1 and 2. Oh, I think they're going to try to split him here, Dawson. Let's watch here as we first work our way into the tri-oval. That's where this whole thing starts. You see Andrew Navarro pushing on the back of the 89. We talked about the blinking for a while. It doesn't look like he was blinking at this moment, but then Navarro, as he comes back down here, almost looks like Osmanoff is just starting to work his way up a little bit here. Navarro really doesn't want to follow. Navarro, I think, tries to split, and then Osmanoff tries to cover. Not quite clear anymore, probably not expecting Navarro to make that move at this point. And then, of course, once the 89 gets turned, he gets turned in the front of the field, and a lot of people know where to go. But, I mean, overall, they did a pretty good job of missing this, Dawson. It looks like it only really made one truck ultimately have to come to a stop and going to have to go in to get repairs. I saw Cody get some damage as well, but besides that, I mean, everybody really did a miraculous job sliding through this one. And in regards to the contact, I mean, I still think that's maybe just Navarro pressing the issue in an instant he normally wouldn't, but maybe a little bit worried about some of the connection issues he saw earlier and wanted to try to make that move and get in front of that. So if there was a problem, he wouldn't be involved. I mean, what did it look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it looks to me like he kind of slides across Trevor's bumper just a little bit, and as he does, and he gives him that little offset push on the left side, it pushes Trevor up, and Navarro's getting pushed from behind, so he's obviously going to just go ahead and go to the middle, but unfortunately, Trevor comes back down, and they slide sideways. Now, this was the weirdest look I think I've seen in a wreck in a while, of Trevor coming back up, and Malik Ray appears to hit him, doesn't actually get any damage. A couple other trucks appear to hit him, doesn't appear to get any damage. And the one unlucky guy to all of this is going to be Cody Nagels. He just didn't get as lucky as those other guys and ends up with some damage. So tough break for Osmanoff, tough break for Nagels. Nagels being one of our Elite 8 drivers. That's another tough break for one of our bracket guys early in this one.
Go take one final view here of the 89 and his spin here as Navarro again just really had not anywhere to go. You talked about he had been getting pushed from behind initially, but still just one of those things, hard racing early. Nobody trying to do anything malicious, but certainly going to hurt some feelings over on the KSR side here as Osmanoff had a great looking run early on here and not anymore. And man, Colin Bowden, Malik Ray, you called it as it was happening live, Dawson. Almost net-coated through, if you will, the 89. I mean, you saw him clearly make contact, but just continue to go right through the truck without getting any damage. And Boy, that is a lucky break. That doesn't happen often, but you see the 24 go right through the right rear, and then Malik Ray able to follow him through without any further incident. So as they continue to get this mess cleaned up, second caution of the night, 14 laps in. I think it's a good chance to bring in our third commentator here tonight, race analytics, and then of course race control tonight. That's the job of Matthew Baker. Baker, so far, I mean, we've seen pretty good racing back at Daytona. What have you thought of what we've seen so far?
It's been good racing for sure. Just unfortunate with some of the internet stuff happening with Trevor and Dustin. Hopefully they get that figured out. You saw Andrew try and dispose of them, get them to the outside line, and luckily it looks like the internet saved Colin Bowden and Raja. Not Raja. He's in the Raja paint scheme, but driving like Raja Caruth as of late, Malik Ray.
Yeah, don't forget, he actually got a win over in the Coke Series. I heard, don't quote me on this, but I heard that was actually his first Coke Series win at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Yeah, sure enough. So a big victory there. And, boy, we always talk about how much confidence you get from a win in PGR, Dawson. I cannot imagine the confidence you get from winning one of those Coke Series races. And, I mean, the reaction really did say it all. You saw it live on the driver cam from Malik Ray during that race. So if you didn't see it, you should go check that one out. But I think he still wants to get himself a PGR win, and tonight might be his night. I mean, he's always running up front, but the big thing with super speedways, talk about it all the time, Dawson, probably about 75% skill. You need skill to get you all the way to the end. But sometimes at the end, you need a little bit of luck to make it through some of the chaos and catastrophe that we see. Right now, he's got himself fourth, and he's got a pretty good group around him here. Ken McCullough Jr., Matt Lee on the front row. Colin Bowden going to be on his inside. Garrett Maines, Jeff Merck just behind. How about Dylan Jones making his way up into the mix? Andrew Navarro on his outside. The O2, Richard Elliott, Kevin Freeze back making up row number 4, running at your top 10. It's going to be, looks like John Mullihan and Jason Maines.
Hey, you talk about a confidence builder. I mean, no better way to build confidence for a super speedway race on a Thursday than to win a super speedway race on a Tuesday. So, yeah, good to see Malik get that one. He's been working at it for a really long time. His 94th career Coke Series start is his first Coke Series win, and that's, you know, what a cool story. And again, I mean, you want to build some confidence for a race like this. That's what you go and do. You go and win a race like that. And it was textbook, and he's in a good spot tonight so far. We'll see if he gets another opportunity to go to victory lane here this week.
Certainly will. Now, looking at strategy play, fuel percent tonight, and then, of course, laps that we still have remaining. Well, actually, before that, Dawson, head-to-head matchups. I know we got a chance to talk about them briefly, but how's everybody looking right now?
All right, so we got 4 matchups tonight. Cody Nagels and J.R. Miller. Currently, Nagels gets involved in the incident. He runs 22nd. J.R. runs 13th. Now, we'll see if that sticks. J.R.'s running a good race so far tonight. We'll see if he can pull the upset. John Ward, Kyler Wynn is our second matchup. Kyler runs 21st. John Ward runs currently in the 16th position, so Ward leads that one. Matt Patton, Logan York. I believe Logan York leads that battle, but it's not by very much over Matt Patton in the 3. And then obviously Kevin Freeze and Colin Bowden both run here at the front of the field.
That's the one I'm keeping my eye on, at least right now, because those two are just about neighbors right now, how close they're running on track. But here we go, green flag back in the air. 16 laps complete at Daytona, and it's a good even restart this time from both lanes. The outside, not quite as much momentum, but they're going to get linked up a little bit quicker. Garrett Maines and Malik Ray already to the back bumper of the Super Speedway veteran Ken McCullough Jr. They're going to push him off into turn 1 as the inside starts to battle back. A lot of disorganization on this one, Dawson. Further back, everybody separated, and it's going to be a single file line here for a lap or two as everybody tries to catch these leaders.
Yeah, very discombobulated restart most of the way back to the field. We'll have to see as these guys start to catch up to the leaders here what they decide to do. Jimmy Emo's still struggling. He's into the outside wall again back there about halfway back, trying to see if he can keep it out of the wall there about 10, 12 rows deep in this field. Up front, Katie McCullough power move to the outside. He goes to the lead and leaves the Coke tandem of Malik Ray and Garrett Maines up on the outside. Third line already formed. It's Navarro and Freeze. Up to the outside they come, but only 2 trucks going so far. Not going to work out too well for them. They need some more help. To the lead in 1, Malik Ray in the 71.
Malik Ray poking a nose out in front as they work through turns 1 and 2. Ken McCullough Jr. on the bottom. Those 2 trucks up top. Going to need a little bit more help. It's a Toyota and a Chevy. Not 2 manufacturers we would expect to work together, but those two of the best in the business at the super speedways. Kevin right now doing the pushing, but without a third truck, all they're going to be able to do is maintain at most, really not make any progress. We're looking to see if Garrett would think about jumping out, but I think for the moment he's committed to the back bumper of Malik Ray. Now on the top, you see him still sticking strong. Ken McCullough Jr. will shuffle up to the top. That'll give Matt Lee a chance to breathe as they work their way out of turn 4. Colin Bowden out of the lead pushing position on the bottom.
One truck going to the outside. I believe it might be Ron Morris in the 76. He was trying to get up there with Freeze and Andrew Navarro. We'll see what he can do. He still now has Jason Maines in front of him. Now Kyler Wynn tries to work his way up, and all of a sudden, the third lane starting to gain some traction, starting to gain some players. And you see, as they get up behind him, you see them start to push that line forward. Navarro starts to gain some more ground. Still Lee and McCullough dead even off too, but Andrew Navarro lurks in the tail end of this battle. He's starting to work his way back forward down the back straightaway.
3 wide, plenty of momentum now on the outside line. Andrew Navarro still getting pushed by Kevin Freeze. Not quite enough to get clear. Merck gets sideways in the middle of the pack. He somehow holds on. Now he's going to get Ron Morris Jr. Morris goes around hard into the outside wall, goes to 76. The 82 piles in. Kyler Wynn with nowhere to go. Davenport's going to sneak by. And multiple others involved in this one. It's the 40 of Logan York and Kyler Wynn make a little contact after the wreck had concluded. And they all get back rolling. Kyler Wynn is destroyed, as are a couple others, including Ron Morris Jr., who didn't even make it back to the pits, at least driving it. He had to put it on the flatbed and get it towed. Kyler Wynn, I'm not sure if he had the RDU. Oh my goodness. Logan York and Kyler Wynn here. Not too happy with each other, Dawson. We got a little on-track fight night going on right here between the 82 and the 40. Not sure what all that was about there, but Logan York expressed his displeasure. Kyler expressed his, and I guess we're back to caution here.
Wow, yeah, I'm seeing that at the same time you are. That's wild stuff there on the front stretch. I was trying to go back and look at the wreck, but wow, you're right. Temper's flaring here on the front stretch. But in the wreck, man, Jeff Merck tried his best, and as he caught it, unfortunately catches left rear Morrison. Man, it is on from there. There's some big hits in this one.
Yeah, we're going to go back and take a zoomed, a little bit of a closer view of this here. Now, initially, you saw again the 60 get out of shape. The question was there something that sent him out of shape? Yeah, there certainly is. This starts pretty far back. In fact, I think we're going to go to the chopper view for starters here because, again, this starts towards the end of the back straightaway. Watch the 60. Middle of your screen. He's right behind Garrett. Ooh, it's a little bit of a stack up. You see the middle. No, the momentum starts to check up as Jeff Merck catches the back of Garrett Maines. He's got to slow down. I mean, he's the fourth truck in line. He can't push. Problem is Mullahan's getting pushed by Kyler Wynn, so he's not able to do much here. Pushes Jeff Merck, gets him a little bit on the right side. That sends Merck down the track. Initially, like I said, saves it again, but now he's just starting to get a little bit too far behind on his steering, and then eventually drifts up. Oh, man, I think there's actually just a slight bit of net code there between him and Ron Morris Jr., which is unfortunate because I don't think he actually hits him here, Dawson. Yeah, he doesn't. And that's a really, really tough break. So I think Merck does save it if that contact doesn't occur. And that's the one that ultimately sends Ron Morris Jr. around, gets him into Jeff Merck, and then it's going to send Ron Morris Jr. back up the racetrack here. And this is where, as you talked about, some of the big hits are going to come into play. And Ron Morris Jr., definitely the biggest hit. I mean, you see Thomas Parker, front end of his truck is gone. John Ward slides through, but still takes a couple of big shots here. Corbett trying to sneak through. I'm not sure if he hit anything. The 72 of Tony Cox not getting too much damage himself, but Kyler Wynn, certainly another truck that got destroyed in this one. And then there you see the little bit of contact afterwards. I mean, Dawson, surely that's not what Logan was upset about. I mean, Kyler's just getting back up to speed after the wrecks occurred. And see, slows down coming into the travel here, and that's about all I can. Yeah, I'm not really sure there what Logan's too upset about, but Kyler letting him know, the heck, man, I've already got a damaged truck. Leave me alone. I didn't do anything to you. And not too surprised to see two of the most aggressive guys in the series, I guess, getting after it here pretty early.
Yeah, not really surprised to see that either myself. Obviously, there's frustration on both parts here because, Logan's running a little bit further back than he probably wants to right now. Obviously, gets involved in that wreck just a little bit. Kyler, that's the second wreck he's been in tonight in terms of, big damage on his truck. So he's frustrated because now it's the second time he's going to have to probably come take his fast repair here. So, in terms of the bracket, that affects him big time. So, yeah, big time frustration, but that's what this kind of racing will do in a wreck like that.
Certainly will. I want to see if we can get one more angle of this one here through the drone cam through 3 and 4 for Ron Morris Jr. Man, that was a big hit there for Thomas Parker. Nowhere to go. And then as they all pile in, I think Merck actually kind of gets away with this one by being on the bottom lane at the time. And then Ron Morris Jr., again, nowhere to go. You see the 98 get collected as well. So as everybody comes to a halt, and we will wrap up what's going to be your third caution of the night. We go back up front where the lights on the pace car are off. Getting ready to go back green up front. It is Colin Bowden leading the way. Matt Lee back in second. Ken McCullough Jr. in third. Andrew Navarro fourth. Dylan Jones in fifth. Kevin Freeze in sixth with Garrett Maines back in seventh. Richard Elliott eighth. Jason Maines ninth. And Cody Nagels currently rounding out your top 10. Almost halfway through, Dawson. But man, if they keep wrecking like this, we may not have a chance to see a green flag stop here on the night.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we would, especially with all the bracket implications. Always love to see green flag pit stops in these kinds of races, but you can tell the temperature is really high, and that's not on the racetrack. That's with the drivers. You can tell the intensity very high in this race so far. So we'll see if it keeps up. Obviously, these guys not wanting to show any kind of restraint in this race. So we'll see what happens here on this next run.
Certainly not. And we're going back here to see. Looks like Kyler Wynn was able to get that damage repaired, but interestingly enough, look who's starting directly behind him here. It is going to be Logan York, so we'll see if these two have already got it settled out. I'm sure Matthew Baker is making sure that he's doing a pretty good job right now of keeping these two in check, letting them know, hey, we got to go back racing. If you two want to cause anything, you can cause it after the race because I'm not having it right now. But the 24 up front, Colin Bowden, we've seen him be the lead pusher quite a bit tonight. Had a couple chances to poke the nose out in front, but first chance to lead a restart back to green, so we'll see what the 24's got in terms of horsepower under the hood and who he's got for pushers behind, how long he can maintain that lead. But Matt Lee on the outside, Andrew Navarro, Kevin Freeze going to be a strong trio to try to get around, and 100% fuel sets us at about 30 laps. So yeah, officially no more green flag pit stops unless maybe we get into overtime. That'll be a different story. Here we go back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air at Daytona.
Great timing by Andrew Navarro. I mean, that was textbook stuff on the restart. Look at the jump he and Matt Lee get here on the outside of the racetrack. And again, another discombobulated restart. And Matt Lee sees that. He sees the bottom being more organized, drops down in front of Colin Bowden. And now we'll probably have to just play some Pied Piper here at the front if he wants to keep the lead. Navarro will surge here on turn number 2 and onto the super stretch. But will he get blocked here by Matt Lee? Nope. Looks like Lee's going to stay on the bottom here, so only 4 trucks on the outside. Man, look at the separation back ways through the field. Matt Padden, by the way, is one of the lead trucks back there in that second group. He's trying to come forward here in the 3.
Yeah, he certainly is, and just in front of him right now. I mean, we've got all sorts of disorganization, but that's Ryan Newman in the 15, who we've only seen the last couple weeks, but he's making a phenomenal run right now. Dawson up 25 positions. Oh, wrecking hard out back. 2 trucks hard into the outside safer barrier. Cautions back out as the 4, Philip Wilkinson, goes for a slide through the pits. Corbett and Joshua McCullough, the 2 primary suspects in this one. Joshua McCullough is all torn up. And just like that, we are back under caution here tonight. 4th one of the night. I'm not sure what caused this one, but it's going to destroy a couple more race trucks after what has been a pretty expensive night for the teams in terms of repairs. I'm trying to go back here, find exactly where Joshua McCullough ended up after all that damage to me. Or excuse me, that was not Josh that I saw. I was wondering why he was still so far up. A similar paint scheme here as we actually go back. So it was Sean Corbett and, I believe it was Joey Galati who was actually the other one involved in the 01 as well. So apologize. I think I've been getting those 2 schemes mixed up here tonight, but we'll go back and actually see this one in live view. Yeah, that was indeed Joey Galati. Jeff Merck and Logan York going to be the 3 involved in this. And thinking maybe does the 01 drift up a little bit here? Let's go to the blimp cam first. And then you see Logan York in the middle. Jeff Merck up top. And it looks to me like, yeah, the 01 just starts to drift up. Slight contact in the right rear between him and Logan York. That's what sends the 01 hard into the outside wall, but didn't look like Logan was really doing anything wrong there. Just again, the 01 drifting up, and then Corbett tries to shoot the middle. And unfortunately, that gap closed up just as he got there. Hard contact for the 45 as well, but that would explain why the smoke came out of the 1, and he immediately had to take it to the pits. Hard contact again, just a lot of aggression further back, Dawson. Guys all trying to fight for position. I mean, 3 wide this far back in the pack. Not something we'd expect to see, but certainly just looks like a little bit of a mistake there on the 01, and it's going to cost a couple guys potentially a fast spare here.
Yeah, tight quarters racing. Obviously, we talked about how much tighter Daytona is than Talladega. If you're at Talladega, you probably get away with that. You're able to move a little bit more, able to give a little bit more room. Unfortunately, here at Daytona, you're a little bit closer to the guy next to you, and right there you see what can happen. Just an unfortunate deal for York and Merck there as Galati washes up just a little bit and unfortunately gets up into the outside wall. Has a really big hit for the 0-1 as he almost gets up off the ground there. It's how hard he hit, and like you said, he tried to shoot the middle. Tough break for Sean Corbett as well, but that's what happens. Tight quarters racing here at Daytona, not as much room to work.
How about the job, though, that Tony Cox did to miss this wreck. We're going to go on board here to the roll bar. He sees this happen just in front of him, and watch. He sees it. He's going to get on the brakes, wait for the gap to open up, and then shoots to the left of the 0-1 at the last second. What a job by Tony Cox. And then the awareness there, Dawson, to make the right turn just before pit entry. And now again, there won't be a penalty from race control for going down the pits. Of course, they'll clear the black flag, but it still gives you an end of line penalty, which is something that, of course, iRacing itself won't let you clear, even if race control itself clears it. So big break there for Tony Cox by missing that wreck and of course not going into the pit. So now not only will he not have to worry about using a fast pair, but he will also get to keep his track position. Nicely done there by Tony.
Well, I'll tell you, I'd rather have an end-of-line penalty for going through a closed pit than having a wrecked race truck. So if I'm Tony Cox and I have to give up a few spots, have to run a little bit closer to the back, number one, it keeps you away from the mess up front. Number two, your truck's still all in one piece. So good on Tony right there. Good reflexes to miss that wreck and keep his truck all clean.
Tony was another one of the drivers that we had carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. Next up on the list, series owner Michael Triscaro. We're going to see how he's running here tonight. So far down 4 positions from where he started. Currently sitting still inside the top 15 though, so still a good run overall. Got a little bit of work to do here in these next probably 24, 23 laps left. But again, that is plenty of time all in all to get the job done, so we'll be keeping an eye on him the rest of the way through. And then a guy who's, Dawson, I mean, in my opinion, been on a tear lately, Richard Elliott. I mean, everywhere we've looked, Little Guy Series, the Big Dog Series, and anything in between, he has been at the front time and time again. We saw in, of course, Little Dog, Big Dog Series Championship at the front leading, coming to the white flag. Unfortunately, things didn't work out, got turned around, nothing of his doing. But the point is, Richard Elliott, he's figured something out here in the last couple of weeks, continues to find himself at the front of the end of these races. And I know we talk about there's some luck involved, but it's certainly not all luck that you find yourself up front consistently at the end of these races. So watch out for Richard Elliott here. One of the bar teammates doesn't have a lot of help here tonight, but if he's fast up front, he'll get help from the guys that want to try to get to the front as well.
Yeah, one of the guys that was already successful before he joined BAR. But man, once he joined those guys, and we've seen it on Monday nights, just the growth in all four of those guys have really gone through over the past several weeks. Especially, they've been all on a tear individually. Justin Mills, obviously the defending Little Guy Series champion now. Richard Elliott's run well in that series, and it's starting to show its fruit elsewhere too. I mean, they're starting to show their growth here in these big time races, and it's a prime sign of that tonight with Richard Elliott running inside the top 10.
Certainly is. Well, as we get ready to get the green flag again, we always say, I know I said it's still plenty of time, but I'm telling you, it's just something about a racer's mindset. When you hear 25 laps to go, you start to tell yourself, okay, it's go time. And especially now that you know there's no more scheduled pit stops, at least under green, maybe a couple under caution if you want to go take tires or top off with fuel. But, I mean, I think at this point, you're not even topping off with fuel. Even if we go to overtimes, I think you can save enough under those cautions to make the rest of the way. So, you know what that means, Dawson? I think we're going to see 3 wide just about the rest of the way. A lot of shuffling, a lot of lead changes. Can't wait for it. Here we go.
Ace car is down, lead the field in the hands of Matt Lee and Colin Bowden on the front row of this restart. 23 to go in Daytona. Green flag is back in the air and off towards turn number 1. And look at the start on the bottom. Matt Lee and Andrew Navarro are gone. Here headed for turn number 1. They are both clear. Kevin Freese, Garrett Maines, they're thanking them for that, saying, wow, what a great start. We're going to be here pretty close to the front. Now does Navarro take a look on Matt Lee? Does Kevin Freese jump out of line if he gets clear? Now the question will begin as, again, another disorganized restart most of the way back through the field, and you'll see as guys start to pick their lines. You see Nagels, he's bouncing between them onto the super stretch.
A lot of disorganization further back, but not as much as we've seen on previous restarts. So I think this is going to tighten up pretty quick, but it is still a dead heat down the Daytona super stretch. Lee gets the advantage as they work into turn number 3. Ken McCullough Jr. still pushing hard. Oh, Lee gets turned. He's trying to save it. He's got to check up. They all give him room to get up. What a save from Matt Lee as he jumps back up to the middle, trying to find a spot back down the line. Nobody going to help him out. The 04 is going to go to the back, and they will all continue to keep it clean. What a save from Matt Lee. Just looked like a push gone wrong right there in the turn. And oh my goodness, man, what a tough break too. Went from the front to the back that quickly, but that's what can happen here, Dawson. You got to push to make progress, and unfortunately, sometimes doing a little bit too much pushing can make progress in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's a huge save for Matt Lee. I mean, saved his race, probably saved the races of several guys here at the front, because if he had come back up into the field, I mean, that would have been devastating. As we see 3 of the aligned trucks go to the lead here in turns 3 and 4. It's Kevin Fries, Garrett Maines, and Jason Maines. They rocket around Colin Bowden, and that's notable. Fries now goes back in front of the 24th Bowden and takes the lead in that Elite 8 matchup. Up on the outside, here come Malik Ray and Kyler Wynn. Where'd the 82 come from? All of a sudden, he's back inside the top 10. They got a huge head of steam coming from the front. Here into turn number 1, here comes Garrett Maines for the lead.
Yeah, these two were just in the back a couple laps ago, especially during that last little run that we had just before the caution and came back out. But, boy, it didn't take long. Again, you find the fast guys, you're going to get back to the front. Kyler Wynn, Malik Ray, 2 of the best in the business, and when they got tandem together, it did not take long. So as they get back up there, they didn't take it 3 wide. Interestingly enough, Dawson, they settled down for now. Going to be third and 4th on the outside lane. Track temp hasn't changed much either. Currently sitting at 87 degrees, so still think that to get that third lane working, you're going to need at least 3 strong pushers. And I think we see a lot of potential here in this lead pack for that, but nobody biting just yet. As we take 20 laps to go up front, it is still going to be Garrett Maines, Kevin Fries, the 2 teammates side by side now. If you're Garrett, we know that you're probably helping Kevin in some way here tonight. Kevin's got a battle with Colin Bowden. How do you try to plan this thing out to help Kevin win that battle, but also give yourself a chance to win the race before this thing's all said and done?
Well, I think you do exactly what you're doing right now, and that's control the lanes, his teammates here. Garrett's doing an excellent job, as we've seen him do in the past, of being the Pied Piper. Drops back down to the help of his teammate here, Kevin Fries, on 25. And again, they'll just kind of keep Colin guessing. Keep him up where he has to be the pusher, not give him an opportunity to beat a lead truck. Unfortunately now, though, the surge starts to come to the outside. Dylan Jones, Malik Ray, and others behind him get a little bit impatient. Now start to push that middle line forward. This is where you don't want to be if you're Garrett and Kevin, as Kevin's buried now second in line. Bowden is able to beat a lead truck on the outside, so you got to find a way to get Garrett back up in front and allow Kevin to lead the bottom, and just from there, you just got to hope it works. Third line, though, starting to bite behind him. Cody Nagels, Matt Lee, Michael Triscaro, we're starting to put out some feelers for the third line.
Yeah, in regards to the battle up front, it's all about a battle of attempts. And right now, Garrett's doing a phenomenal job of kind of maestroing all of that and what's going on. But as he moves back up to the middle, you talk about that third lane, keep an eye as they work down the super stretch. Nagel's now going to draw even with Malik Ray in the 71. Falls back to Kyler Wynn in the 82. He's only got a push at the moment from Matt Lee, but there is some more commitment up there with Michael Triscaro. How about Christopher McCullough? I haven't got a chance to talk about him tonight, or really his teammate that much, Joshua McCullough, but those two have now got locked together. Currently stuck in the middle lane, not really anywhere to go for the 39 or the 01, but the 6 and the 04. Going to continue to try to make progress as they work down the short chute into turn 1. Still 2x2 formation for the first 3 rows before they fan out 3 wide after that. And here comes a couple of the KSR and Hyper boys up top. John Ward, Dustin Carruthers trying to join the racing, but as they race onto the backstretch, it is still Colin Bowden who now leads the way, was able to make the switch on Garrett, new leader at Daytona.
Yeah, halfway down the backstretch, Colin Bowden manages to get out front. Now you really don't like where you are if you're Kevin Fries. You are trapped now, third in line on the bottom. Colin Bowden, this is music to his ears. Looking back there, seeing the 25 boxed in, not able to make a move. But right as I say that, Garrett jumps to the outside. Now Kevin's the lead pusher, and the third line continues to try. Andrew Navarro takes a look here on Kyler Wynn. Kenny McCullough goes with him, so now the third line's got some help again. But it's very disorganized up there. They keep trying to get it going, but it's not really working so far. Back to 2x2 up front. Garrett Maines goes to the lead. Trucking the wall further back. It might have been Michael Triscaro and Ryan Baste. I think they got a piece of the outside wall. Chris McCullough now is going to jump up, and all of a sudden, Austin, third line is rolling. Here comes Andrew Navarro halfway down the super stretch.
Yeah, it certainly is. You said disorganized, but you knew eventually would have to get organized if these guys wanted to get to the front. And Ken McCullough Jr. doing everything he can. He's got a teammate behind him, and Christopher McCullough. Those two pushing hard on the back bumper of Andrew Navarro, seeing if they can't get him clear to try to make a move themselves. But right now, you got 2 Coke Series drivers on the bottom and middle line. Garrett Maines in the middle, Colin Bowden on the bottom. Andrew Navarro still up top with Ken McCullough Jr., Kevin Fries. And it's just turning into that gridlock formation, Dawson, and this is where it truly becomes who can save their temps better. And right now, I think that the bottom's doing the best job as Kevin Fries still able to keep Colin Bowden out in front as they work into turn 1. Ooh, contact further back. The 15 Ryan Newman got tagged. He's trying to save it back on the apron as everybody's trying to hold him. They're not going to do it. Ron Morris Jr. goes down the track, slides back up. Mark Vondell runs into him. Caution is back out as the 76 gets tagged again. And man, oh man, again, another instance of so close to saving it, but just not quite able to hold on. Ryan Newman, the first truck that I saw get sideways. And then the wreck just kind of chain reactioned after that. And the 15 may not have actually got the brunt of this. No, he certainly still did. All right, let's back it up to where it all starts. Find out exactly how it all starts here. And it starts going into turn 1, as a matter of fact here. The 15 just behind the 98 of Jimmy Emos. And if we go, I think we're going to go to the chopper view for this one, at least for starters. Watch, ooh, the 15 is already making contact with the 92 there of Ward. Again, this is going into turn number 1. Yeah, it looks like the 15 drifting up just a little bit, maybe trying to cool. Ward sees that and actually bails high, but then Jimmy Emos gets out of the throttle. You see the fire out of the pipes. Newman has to do the same. And as they get down into turn 1, John Ward turning the truck down the racetrack. Newman running a little bit up. They both make some contact there. That sends Ryan Newman down onto the apron. And once it sends him back up, Mullahan does a great job here initially keeping it off the bumper. In fact, I mean, John Mullahan, he's doing everything he can right there to check up without hitting the 15, without also slamming on the brakes and wrecking the field. But then it's actually up top just above these two. Michael Trescaro, Ron Morris Jr. Oh, man, Dawson, you see that? How the left rear of the 76 almost just shot up the track. Looked like maybe, again, some sort of... I know people hate when we call it that, but it looks like netcode. I mean, watch the 76 here. Watch the left rear. Boom. Looks like somebody just kicked the truck sideways, if you will, and then once he comes back down, he's just trying to save it. But at this point, the truck's too far gone, and as he comes down the banking, the 15 there of Ryan Newman is already trying to save it, so he gets collected. Logan York, John Mullahan, they all sneak by. And then there's the contact for Ron Morris Jr. and Ryan Newman. And there's the heavier contact, if you will. Joey Galati piled in with nowhere to go. So, boy, Ron Morris Jr., he has been on the bad end of the stick here for a couple of these wrecks where it looked like he was going to avoid it. And unfortunately, this one, another one of those cases, it looks like.
Yeah, tough break for Ryan Newman. Obviously, he tried everything he could there to get the truck saved. But the even tougher break here is for Ron Morris. I mean, that is... We like to say we see something we've never seen before. That was certainly something that happened there, man. That is just an incredibly tough break for Ron Morris, who had finally started to recover from the earlier incident. And I mean, that's one of the more egregious examples of that, weird shotgun netcode that we have seen in the past several weeks. And that, I mean, just a total bummer for Ron Morris, who had finally gotten back towards the front, gets involved in another one right there.
We're going to show you the cockpit view here. So watch, he's holding the wheel straight, everything's fine, and boom, I mean, there you go, you see it there. That's not just getting loose, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you. We've seen it plenty of times in terms of what it looks like to get loose here, and that's not it. So just an unfortunate instance, and Joey Galati looked like he was going to, again, shoot the outside there until the gap closed up. So we'll continue to get things cleaned up as we'll take one more view here from TV3, TV1 rather. Go back to this incident here involving Ron Morris Jr., and when he spun down, again, lucky to not spin back up in terms of if he was in the front of the field, but once he did come up, he's going to collect his teammate Mark Vondel, who had nowhere to go. Trevor Osnoff makes contact with the back of the 59. So as the dust settles, the smoke clears. Looks like maybe the 76, the only man that's going to have to take a fast repair from that if he's got one left, but being involved in that earlier incident, not sure exactly what the case is there. Back up front, lights on the pace car still on, hoping they're going to go off this time. And that means we are getting ready to go back green. Colin Bowden, Garrett Maines, Kevin Freese, Dylan Jones, Jason Maines, your top 5 at Daytona. We will be right back for the restart. Stick with us. front. Now we're going to see a little 4-wide action.
Crazy out of the trial.
Oh, he gets into the lead under record.
3x3 entering 4.
3 do. At the flag stand, side by side. It's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Back live at Daytona International Speedway, getting ready for what could potentially be final restart of the night, although still going to be 13 laps to go, so certainly a chance for another caution. But as we get ready for the restart, boy, it's going to be a crazy one here. I mean, we're watching the head-to-head battles, and right now, Dawson, I think the one that's got to keep all of our attention is Colin Bowden versus Kevin Freese, because they're 1-2 on the inside, and only one of them can move on to the next round. Green flag back in the air, 12 laps to go at Daytona.
Well, what a tough box Kevin Freese has been put in here. He's against Colin Bowden tonight, but right now, his only matter of getting into the Final Four is going to be pushing the 24, at least for the moment. Man, all the run is outside. Garrett Maines to the lead here as they climb the banking into turns 1 and 2. Kyler Wynn, he's in a pretty good spot in his battle right now with John Ward, who came to pit road under that caution. He's very much ahead of the 92 right now. We'll see if John Ward can make his way back forward. The other one I'm watching is Matthew Patton and Logan York, who are separated by one spot right now. Side by side, actually, for that spot down the backstretch. Garrett Maines leads to 3, but a lot of other stuff we're watching. Man, how did Garrett save that going into 3?
Man, that was a big moment. Ashburn Bill assault, too. He jumped down immediately, wanted no part of it. Further back, there's a battle between York and Patton. York now rolling on the outside. Patton gonna have to find a way to jump up or stay buried for the moment. Here comes Kevin Cole Jr. A lot of disorganization. Everybody trying to save it. Man, another big moment as we worked our way into the trial oval that time. 11 laps now to go, and at third lane, Dawson, they're creeping right now, but they're going to get formed up here in about the next lap or two as Richard Elliott going to join the fight with 2 of the McCullough Motorsports drivers. That's Christopher McCullough pushing. Oh, we got trouble out back here. You heard the contact, not sure who it was. John Mullihan in the grass, and oh man, multiple other trucks here involved. Up top is a 00 Tucker McClendon for Blind Squirrel Racing. Nowhere to go, Brock Westberlin, Ryan Newman, Tony Cox, Mark Vondell, and Philip Wilkinson. All the trucks that we saw in that camera angle that it came to a halt after the contact. So now this is going to put us in a restart with less than 10 laps to go, probably much less than 10 laps to go. So it just continues to ramp up the eagerness, the anticipation, and what's ultimately going to lead to ramping up the aggression of these drivers as we continue to get more cautions. That's ticking off more laps that they could be using to race instead. All right, let's go back and break down this one for you. Tucker McClendon, who we saw in the middle of it, he's not going to be where this whole thing starts. In fact, it's going to start with David Sheets in the 1 truck, and then it's going to amplify from there. So it looks like he was running just behind Sean Corbett, at least from this view. And if I want to go back here even further, I don't think Sheets ended up getting... I think it's going to be a checkup. Again, we're going to start with the chopper view for this first. As they work down the short chute, everything's fine. In fact, the 45 and the 1 still getting lined up. Then by the time we get down here, turn 1, is it a little bit of... Oh, it is. It's a checkup. The 98 of Jimmy Emos on the inside. You saw the fire out of the pipes there briefly. We'll see if we can get it again for you here. Watch the right side, the 98 truck. Yeah, there you go. That little bit of fire that you saw out of the pipes, that's a checkup where he's letting off the gas. And I mean, David Sheets just kind of gets run into there, but they're not expecting that checkup. I mean, there's still a gap in front of the 98 when he does let off the gas, so they're not expecting this. But at the same time, you've already got just about a 3-truck tandem stack-up starting to occur. And so once the 98 checks up, 45 of Corbett, just not really anywhere to go. You see he's trying to bail high, but instead he's going to get David Sheets in the right side bumper. You can't do that here. That's going to send him down on the apron. He's trying to save it, but that transition, maybe at Talladega they get away with that one, Dawson, but flat transition here. Sheets can't quite hold it down with that much speed still. And when he comes back up, this one's going to collect about 5 or 6 of them.
Another tough break. Another one I think you probably, like you said, get away with at Talladega perhaps. But Daytona, a little bit tougher beast to try to handle in some of these instances. And yeah, another good effort to try to save it, but just unfortunate. It stacks up there, and this is a lot bigger wreck than I thought initially that it was, at least than initially I saw. This collects several trucks, and I'll tell you, the beneficiary of this one's going to be John Ward. He gained a bunch of spots in this. This actually helps him a lot in terms of getting back towards the front and getting closer to Kyler Wynn. So get on the 92 if we're getting through that one.
Certainly was, as we took a couple more angles of it right there. Want to see one more onboard view here with David Sheets. As again, he was the first truck to go around. gets a pretty view of the sunset in the process, but certainly not what he wanted at this point in the race after. Was trying to play it conservative most of the night, just make it to the end. And, you know, often at times it's not a bad strategy, Dawson, when these races come down to a war of attrition, as it seems this one is here tonight. And, you know, I think we've already beat the theory that it's a certain package at a certain car at a certain track that leads to great racing, or excuse me, not great racing, but more so green flag racing, because we've seen it in just about every series we've ran at some point or another. Just seems to be how these things play out. Certain nights are cleaner than others. 6 caution and 48 laps, though, tonight. Not quite the best showing for these guys, but nonetheless, the racing that we've had has been phenomenal. 3 wide has been plentiful, and Colin Bowden has been leading the last couple restarts here. He's going to have a chance to do it again. Kevin Freese still stuck third in line. Man, I'm telling you, I know he's wishing he could get either the lead, second or fourth on one of these restarts to get on the outside, but just not quite panned out that way, at least not yet, for the 25 truck. So as we get ready to go back green, hoping the lights go off this time, it will be Colin Bowden and Garrett Maines making up row 1, Kevin Freese and Dylan Jones making up row number 2, Jason Maines and Nash Brambilla rounding out row number 3.
It's a tough break for Kevin because he has to keep pushing the guy that he's up against in the bracket. And I will say, last restart, you almost saw a wreck at the front. Kevin, I mean, he had to have been about 3 inches short of being clear of his teammate Garrett Maines in the outside line, and he tried to force it. Luckily, was able to turn off the nose of Garrett and keep from wrecking a lot of trucks at the front of the field. But, man, he really got close to clearing up in front of Garrett Maines on the last restart. We'll see if he can do it again here on this restart. Certainly one of the best pushers on the racetrack, is able to make his own opportunities. We'll have to see if he can do it right here because, again, being stuck behind the guy you're racing, it's got to be a really bad feeling for Kevin Freese running third.
Yeah, well, I know we talked about the tip of the broadcast, Malik Ray getting the win at Atlanta, but you know who else was right there coming to the checkered flag was Colin Bowden. So I'm thinking he's going to have a pretty good shot here if it comes down to maybe making 1 or 2 blocks at trying to make it happen, but still going to be a lot of work for the 24. As 7 laps from the lead is certainly a lot of laps to try to fend off a field this strong here at Daytona, but as they get into 2x2 formation, you see Navarro catching the back of the field. I think at this point the 42 is going to be probably just hoping for a caution and then hoping he can flip some track position here. Kyler Wynn back in the mix as well. As we go to the middle portions of the field, the further portions back in the field. Tony Cox in 29th, Brock Westmoreland 28th. A couple drivers we saw involved in that last wreck. Update on the Matthew Patton versus Logan York battle. Logan's in 17th, Matthew Patton in 19th. So those two still just about nose to tail. Instead, though, it's going to be side by side pretty much for the 3 and the 40. We keep an eye on those two as them, Colin Bowden and Kevin Freese, are the biggest battles we have on track at the moment in the head-to-head bracket for the Elite 8. It's all going to come down to 7 laps at the World Center of Racing, a sprint, but not that much time if you got to get from the back to the front. Here we go.
Bowden Maines again on the front row. Seems like they see each other a lot in these races, and they see each other again here on this restart. Bowden into the Geico restart zone. 7 laps to go in Daytona. Green flag is in the air, and off they go. Good start for both lines. Maybe too good a start for both the lines. Look at the disorganization. Look at the separation. Look at Jason Maines. How about the move by the 1 to get up behind Dylan Jones? I mean, a flick of the wrist to get up in front of Andrew Navarro. Now, do they leave a gap for Kevin Freese? Is Bowden potentially doomed right here? Kevin's looking for it. He's trying to find that gap in front of Jason. There he goes. 24's hung on the bottom, and now all 4 of those aligned trucks are in line. Garrett Maines powers to the lead down the super stretch.
Big move, and I made a mistake, by the way, when I thought it was the 42 catching the field in the back. Don't believe it was, because he is up front, running back, and right now, what is 5th on the outside. Navarro's been up front all day, so it shouldn't be a big surprise there. The bigger surprise, though, as you noted, was the move Jason Maines made up to the top, that hole actually opened up. And now he's going to have a chance to jump to the 3rd lane if he likes the momentum that they're starting to get up top. 2 of the McCullough Motorsports drivers, Ken McCullough Jr., Christopher McCullough, further back, a lot of disorganization. I mean, they are 3 wide trying to get sorted out, and that's allowing this lead group to try to break away a little bit as Jimmy Emos has to bail further back. But up front, still 2x2 for the first 3 rows. Garrett Maines leading Colin Bowden, and on the outside, it's Dylan Jones and Kevin Freese off at 2.
Oh, man, this is intense. A battle for the final 4 here in row number 2. They are side by side for that spot, pushing for everything they're worth down the super stretch. It'll be Dylan Jones that goes to the lead here in the 11 for the first time tonight. He's got a pair of teammates behind him. That's exactly what he wants to see. Dives to the bottom. Now Kevin Freese leads to the top as Jones inherits the lead over Garrett here in turns 3 and 4. We'll see if they pull a little switch here and see if Garrett can get clear. Not quite off turn number 4. 3rd line losing steam further back as that second group has really kind of come apart here over the last half a lap or so. Just not much that they can get going. Dylan Jones loving to see this behind him right now. He's clear for a pretty extended period of time. Now here comes Freeze back to his outside. Exactly what the driver of the 25 wants to see here in 1 and 2.
Losing a lot of steam right now as well because they ran out of temps. I mean, it was only 2 trucks, but now, Malik Ray with a big stack up as I think maybe he was trying to go with those 2 McCullough Motorsports drivers. Not sure if they were having it or if the bump just wasn't quite ready yet. But watch for the 71 to throw another block. This time he wants to go to the 3rd lane with them. And, that's going to get Christopher McCullough Jr. turned hard into the wall. They're wrecking big time out in front. Oh, this is going to be the big one. Dawson, everybody piling in. Nowhere to go. Oh, my goodness. Another wreck. And this one as a result of just guys not really on the same page, I don't think. I think Malik wanted to go high. I think the 2 McCullough Motorsports teammates maybe didn't quite want to go with him or just weren't sure when he was going to go up, and that's exactly what led to that wreck right there. So somebody probably not going to be too happy, and I'm thinking it's going to come on the McCullough Motorsports side of the spectrum here because they got the bad end of the stick on this one.
Well, it's going to come on a lot of spectrums. I mean, look at some of the guys involved in this. Cody Nagels is involved, a bracket driver. J.R. Miller, who he's against, is involved, a bracket driver. John Ward is involved, a bracket driver. I mean, we could go back through Matt Patton and Logan York both involved in this one as well. 6 of our bracket drivers, I believe, are involved in this wreck as a result of this. Well, man, it's so tough because, I mean, they would have probably gotten a lot of ground made up there if Malik Ray and those 2 teammates had just kind of gotten on the same page. And unfortunately, man, they just did not want to work together, it seemed like. And what a big incident it triggers behind them, though.
It's exactly what it seemed like here, but let's back it up and take a look if that's exactly what it ended up being here. Now, Malik, I think maybe was trying to cover the first couple times here. Let's watch this first. So you see they're going to make the move the first time. Malik throws a block on the 39. Ken McCullough Jr. is there, so that's a stack up. Doesn't work. 71 tucks back down the line. He's getting another run. Christopher McCullough, he's peeking out of line here, letting him know, okay, listen, man, I want to go. And as he goes to go again, Malik tries again. They all try to check up, but that time it just doesn't quite work out as the 03 gets into his teammate here. And, I mean, backing it up, I mean, Malik is clear on both of these moves he makes. It's one of those things, Dawson, where you really want to get all 3 trucks to have the run at the same time. And by Malik already being pretty much glued to the back bumper of Andrew Navarro and Christopher McCullough getting a pull, they're not really in the same terms of momentum-wise. The 39's got more momentum than the 71's carrying, so as soon as the 71 jumps out to try to maybe block, if you will, that run, it causes that stack up, and then Ken McCullough Jr. gets offset, not able to catch it in time, not able to tuck back in behind his teammate. And once they get hooked together, Christopher McCullough goes hard up into the wall and thought this thing was maybe going to stay to the top of the racetrack, at least for a moment. But then you see Matt Lee also gets turned by the 03, and then the wreck's on from here. I mean, everybody's just going to slide into this one. Cody Nagels and company just nowhere to go, as it's just at this point, I mean, I think guys are a little bit less inclined to get on the brakes. And unfortunately, once one gets turned, there's a good chance a lot more. And I mean, we had some ferocious hits in that one. Saw Michael Trasquero, J.R. Miller, Matt Lee, Christopher McCullough, all those guys. I mean, hard, dead right into the outside wall.
Yeah, and again, it just feels like it's avoidable there at the front of the field. I get it. Maybe they're waiting for the run, but to me, it really did look like that Chris and Kenny McCullough just did not want to take Malik Ray to the front. It looked like they wanted to be the first 2 in line, and I get that to a degree. But, man, when it costs you that badly as it did Chris and Kenny right there, and when it starts an incident like that, you got to question, should you have just pushed Malik and dealt with it when you got to the front? I mean, they had a big run with how disorganized that second group was. I feel like that could have been avoided, and unfortunately now it takes out a majority of the field from about 12th on back.
Well, lessons will be learned from this one, I'm sure, but yeah, this is certainly going to not only scramble the field, but potentially take out a couple more big hitters as well. You saw John Mullihan and again, a bunch of others with just nowhere to go. And yeah, I'm seeing right now, we still got trucks in the pits here as Thomas Parker was trying to get it back going. Tony Cox, Trevor Osnoth arriving on scene after the fact, getting through the rubble and the debris, if you will. And so as we do indeed go back up front, this is going to send us to our first overtime of the night. 3-lap shootout is what it's showing now, but it'll actually be a 2-lap shootout when we take the green. And if we can make it around 1 lap to take the white flag, then this race will be official. However, if we don't, we'll rack them up and try it again. We can do that for 3 different attempts. But boy, I mean, 7th caution of the night, Dawson, you just talked about it there. Again, another one of the instances where maybe you could have done things a little different. But I mean, Baker, based off what you've seen tonight, has it just been a little bit more aggressive than usual? I mean, these guys back in the trucks, Daytona a little bit narrower. What have you thought of it? And I believe he is currently taking care of some race control duties, so we'll leave him to it. And as we go back up front, though, it is Dylan Jones being scored as your leader. Garrett Maines second, Kevin Fries in third, Colin Bowden fourth, and Jason Maines rounding out your top 5. By the way, quick reminder, some of the things that are getting started back up next week, Dawson. Getting excited for Tuesday Night Thunder. Season 4 going to be making a return on Tuesday night. Again, don't miss out. I believe 10 or 10:30 is the official start time. A great series. Of course, it will be me and Dawson on the call. So hope to see everybody there. Hope to see everybody tuning in. And then PGR, some big events coming up. I know it's early, but never a bad time to mention the PGR Summer Slam 499 that's going to be happening, I believe, mid to late summer. Have more info on that as it gets closer, but that is not one you are going to want to miss. We already saw how the first PGR Summer Slam went. Can't wait to see how the second one's going to go. And on that note, real quick before we go back green, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody watching in the chat. 7Cs, Heath, Joe, Woogie Wolf, Chris Carter. Good to see you all out here. Hope you're having a good Thursday night as we get ready to watch these cats go at it for the first overtime here at the World Center of Racing.
A lot of bracket implications coming up. We got Fries and Bowden lined up side by side. Further back, you got Patton and York lined up pretty much nose to tail on this restart. So some big-time bracket implications coming up after the next 2 laps. Dylan Jones into the Geico restart zone. The green flag will be back out. Overtime number 1 in Daytona. And dead even, they roll off towards turn number 1. Bowden freezes the battle. Watch up front. Who's going to get the better of the 2 as they head down towards turn number 1?
Garrett Maines, I mean, they're going to be dead even here. I was getting ready to say Garrett Maines is going to fall back a little bit, and he does, but they're going to stay pretty even here until they work their way off 2 now. Question is, does Jones jump up, or does he stay low? All the momentum for the top is going to come down the back straightaway. Fries is trying everything to get clear of Garrett. He can't do it. Garrett, we know, trying to help Kevin, but he's just not going to be able to hold that lane up enough. Now that Dylan Jones jumps high, though, that's going to really box Bowden in. Dawson, he's going to have to try to go third lane here if this doesn't start to work in his favor, because now Kevin Fries leads the bottom through 3 and 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to go for Kevin Fries in terms of keeping Bowden locked in. Bowden's going to have somebody go with him here to the third line. That's going to be the only option. White flag as they pass the stripe. Fries goes to the lead, and Colin Bowden's going to be scrambling for answers. Kyler Wynn to the outside. He takes Malik and Jeff Merck with him. Who's going to get the better of who here? Bowden's got to look. He's got to go with Kyler Wynn. He does. Here comes the 24 to the outside. He's going to have a run, but how much of a run will he have? Kyler Wynn's going to push him all the way down the back, but it's all Kevin Fries onto the Daytona Super Stretch.
No choice. Fries right now hoping that third lane doesn't have enough of a run to get clear. Final time down the Super Stretch. Now Jason Maines is going to drop below. Kevin loses help for a moment. Bowden still up top with Kyler Wynn. This could come all the way down to the finish. The 24 and the 25 are racing for the head-to-head battle, but Jason Maines wants to see if he can steal the victory from both. Final time off of turn 4. Jason on the bottom. Kevin in the middle. Colin Bowden up top. Drag race all the way to the finish. Who gets it at the line? It's Kevin Colin Bowden steals it on the outside by less than 1,000th of a second. Unofficial scoring, and it was so close I couldn't even make the call as it happened. We'll have to go back and look at it for sure, but unofficial race winner. How about first one for him in the PGR Series, Colin Bowden? Just a matter of time. Dawson, we talked about it. You called it the entire first lap. He had to go to the third lane. He did, and it worked out. The 24 not only gets a victory, but he wins his head-to-head matchup with Kevin Fries, who comes in second, but I mean by just a tad. Oh my goodness, what a finish.
I mean, it's one of the closest finishes we've ever seen on a Thursday night, and what a finish it was. And you know what? I want to take a look at who's doing burnouts here on the front stretch here. My results say Fries gets the win, Austin. I don't know about yours. My monitor shows the 25, and he's burning it down here at the start-finish line.
Yeah, that's what it looked like crossing the stripe. That's why we said unofficial. So we're going to go back and look at this again. Oh, my God. It's so close to call. But I think you might be right, Dawson. It may have went to Kevin, but when we get these photo finishes sometimes, they're so close that not even the game can tell. And, oh, my goodness. I mean, we're doing this frame by frame because we can't even get a clear picture any other way. I mean, look how close this is. I cannot tell, Dawson. I really can't tell here. I mean, we'll have to go again to iRacing results. Matthew Baker will have official word for us, but you might be right. Wow, I think that may be the closest finish we have ever had in PGR history. I cannot believe that those. I mean, look at it. We're trying to use the yellow line maybe to gauge, but you can't even tell a difference. Both of the splitters on those trucks are at the exact same spot, just where the yellow line meets the checkered line. Oh my goodness, what a finish!
I can't tell. I've watched it 4 times, and I still can't tell. I mean, in terms of bumpers, it looks to me like Bowden wins the race, but again, the scoring, I think, goes by the center of the truck. I think we've had this discussion before, and ironically enough, I think it involved Kevin Freese the first time, too, where the center of the truck is what ultimately determines your scoring. And if you go by that, then Freese is out front, but I mean, it is a razor-thin margin, easily the closest we've ever seen.
Oh, by far. So, yeah, now that we're pulling up the official results, Dawson, it does show Kevin Freese. Again, these are going to be unconfirmed for now. We'll have the official results, at least for your winner, when we come back with interviews. But before we do that, let's take a look at what, again, unofficial, but the most official ones we've got, at least for the moment, results are looking like here at Daytona. Kevin Freese being scored as your leader. So, again, any Colin Bowden fans, if that's not the case, apologize, but all we can do is what the scoring shows. At the time, it looked like it was Colin Bowden. Boy, this one's going to be debatable for a while, but yep, Kevin Freese for the moment being declared as your winner. Colin Bowden in second by less than a thousandth of a second. Jason Maines back in third. Kyler Wynn in fourth. Dylan Jones in fifth. Andrew Navarro in sixth. Garrett Maines seventh. Malik Ray eighth. Nash Bravilla in ninth. And Jeff Merck rounding out your top 10.
Josh McCullough finishes 11th tonight. Matt Patton, he's in the Final Four, Austin. He finishes 12th with Logan York in 13th. So we had a photo finish there as well for the bracket. York finishes 13th. It's Carruthers in 14th. Sean Corbett in 15th. Kenny McCullough finishes 16th with Trevor Osbornoff in 17th. David Sheets finishes in the 18th position with Tucker McClendon in 19th. And Richard Elliott rounds out the top 20.
Matt Lee finishes 21st. Tony Cox 22nd. Michael Triscaro 23rd. John Ward back in 24th. Christopher McCullough in 25th. Brock Westmoreland in 26th. Mike Davenport 27th. Jimmy Emos in 28th with Thomas Parker 29th. Cody Nagels rounding out your top 30.
Mark Vondell 31st. Ryan Bass 32nd. J.R. Miller in 33rd. It'll be Ron Morris in 34th. John Mullahan finishes in 35th. Ryan Newman 36th. Philip Wilkinson 37th. Joey Galati in 38th. And that will do it for your 38-car field tonight.
All right, well, we're going to go get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We will be right back at Daytona. Back live at Daytona International Speedway. We're going to start first tonight with your third place finisher. By the way, before we get to that, official results from race control. Kevin Freese is your winner. Margin of victory, all we've got, at least in terms of time, is less than a thousandth of a second. Anything beyond that, we couldn't really tell. That's just how close it was. But before we get to that, Dawson Wise stands by with third place finisher, Jason Maines.
Yeah, hey, Jason, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, wild finish, wild last 2 laps. Take us through it. Obviously, you're pushing Kevin coming off for you, dive to the bottom, and you see all this happen out your windshield. Take us through that last 2 laps.
Yeah, I was surprised at how fast I got hot. I cooled it down, and then when I was down the backstretch, when I was pushing Kevin, all of a sudden I was cooking. I thought I was going to blow it up on water, so I had no choice but to move to the bottom. But it's amazing when you get, people that literally know how to tandem like that, 3 cars tandeming. It is amazing how hard it is to win, but at the same time how close it could be. And it was a clean race. Whether you won, I'm happy with third because it was a great race.
Well, it was certainly great to watch, but it's a good night for you. You're back on the podium here in PGR on Thursday nights. So, what does this do for you as a driver? It's been a minute since we've seen you up here with us, but a great run for really all of you guys that were working together tonight. So, just kind of take us through how's it feel to be back on the podium here on a Thursday night?
It feels great, Dawson. I've had some bad luck, some of it my own, making bad decisions. Just what it is, and so it feels great, and it's great to see the team do well and Colin get the whole group there. It was just a lot of fun. So, as always, I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Everything we do is for Him, and definitely need Him in my life. And thank my teammates there and everybody up there. It was just great racing.
Well, absolutely it was. And thanks for talking to us. Congratulations tonight on the third place finish, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you, Dawson. I got to give a shout out to Lennox and Premier Setups as well. Thanks for them for coming on board as well.
All right. Well, now that is going to bring us to your second place finisher tonight. And I mean by less than probably inches, maybe down to centimeters. Colin Bowden. Colin, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, man, it was so close that, I thought you won it up here in the booth. We couldn't tell the difference. Scoring initially said you had it. Final scoring said you did it. Man, is there anything else you can really do in a photo finish like that?
No, I never really thought I had it. Just looking, being in the truck and looking over at him, I always felt like I was a touch behind him. And in the truck, there's no side draft or anything. Like, the only thing you can do is once you think you're in front of someone, just door them and like get stuck together, and then y'all are just like never moving. But there's Kyler pushed all he could there. It was just in that situation, just hoping their lane doesn't get a good push or they come discombobulated somehow, but they never did. So you're just kind of, with this draft package, there's not really anything to do. You're just kind of at the mercy of things. It's not like the next gen where you can make stuff happen on your own with like side draft or lifting in situations to get a run or anything.
Well, all in all, in hindsight, you haven't been on the PGR scene that long, and you've already captured your first win, or excuse me, not first win, but one of your many top threes that we're going to see throughout the next few races. I meant to say you came up just short of that first win, but looking ahead as we continue to transition through some of the different series, which series have you liked the best, and which series are you feeling like you're going to grab your first win in?
I don't know which series I'm gonna get my first win in. PGR has definitely been the most fun. Like, Baker does a good job running everything, and Michael does a good job with setting everything up, promoting stuff. It's fun to do. It's just with my schedule, I don't know how many more of these I really can do. It's just this is just a late hour for me, like just having to work every day and in the morning, like getting up 4:30. So I don't know how many more times you're going to see me. I'm not taking a shot at anyone either. It's just my schedule for me personally is just hard to do. But I would love to try and get a win in PGR. I just don't know how many times I can prod her out now that I'm out of the bracket because I lost to Kevin in that. So he did a good job winning that and moving on. That's just the way it goes sometimes, It's restrictor plate racing.
Certainly is. Well, still on the right track. And again, congrats on the podium finish tonight. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
I got to thank Malik and Kyler there for pushing me too. They didn't have a good run there, I wouldn't have been able to get up there. And all the boys at the RFK team, Roush Fenway, Keselowski, and BuildSubmarines.com, and shout them out too. And appreciate y'all for putting these races on. These are definitely fun to do. Like I said, just because I can't do them that often doesn't mean they're not fun to do.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us, and hopefully we'll get to see you out here again next week. But again, congrats on the second place finish.
Thank you.
All right, now that's going to bring us to your winner here tonight. Kevin Freeze, Dawson Wise stands by with him.
Yeah, hey, Kevin, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
Heck yeah, I do.
Well,
Race.
I was just going to say that. What a race, what a finish. You're coming to the line. You're obviously side by side with Colin. Did you think you had the win? Did you think you were a little bit short? Take us through that last little sequence.
So I on that last lap, I was just I cleared middle. Thank God Dylan was there, gave me a huge shove to keep us even. And man, I saw their run. I was hoping they would die out a little bit, but that was such a strong top line with Kyler and Malik pushing Colin there. And when we hit the line, I didn't look at my relative prior to that, and I just glanced over quickly, and it was just flickering back and forth. So I had no idea if I had it. I honestly thought that Colin had me for a second there, and then when the standings refreshed, I'm like, oh, holy shit. Like, I'll take it. That was an awesome finish. It's good that it finished clean, because that's the only way in my mind to finish these. You don't want to take anybody out going for the win or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you get through the bracket. Obviously, you had to sweat it out a little bit there at the line. It comes down to the game of inches there at the start-finish line, but you do get through to the Final Four. We'll preview your matchup here in the Final Four just a little bit, taking on Matthew Patton next week. How do you feel going into the Final Four next Thursday as you work in the later rounds here at March Madness?
Well, I think that I've had the one of the tougher regions of the bracket as it's evolved, so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this bracket thing has been a ton of fun. Oh man, I didn't notice that Patton and York finished 12th and 13th. That was a close battle. It seems like we've had a bunch of those. This has been a great idea. I think it's a lot of fun. It gives you something else to think about during the race, because I know I was just looking the entire race at where Colin was, and then when he was in front of me, just looking for ways to get around him, and it was tough being on the bottom, stuck behind him there for a little while. So yeah, this is great. I can't wait for next week. It's just a ton of fun out there.
Well, it definitely is, and we look forward to that Final Four matchup for you next Thursday night. But before that, you're in victory lane tonight. You get the job done here at Daytona. So before we let you go and celebrate, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, huge thanks to Dylan for the shoves there on that last lap. Jason for the incredible push in there to get us clear to the middle. And thanks to Garrett. He was up there with us the whole night working with us. And we just got separated there, but it was still, I mean, we ran a great race. The cautions were, would have liked to see the green flag pit stop. But I mean, when you can get an ending like that, I think we'll all take it. Thanks to Colin for keeping it clean, and can't wait for next week. Thank you to you guys for doing the broadcast and the best race control out there, Baker.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for taking a second.
I should say the most professional race control.
Well, thanks for talking to us for a second, Kevin. Congratulations on a win and getting to the Final Four. We will see you next Thursday night.
Yeah, thank you guys. Enjoy your night.
All right, well, that's just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight. A couple of quick notes, though, before we head out. I mean, first of all, I agree completely with what Kevin said there, Dawson. And the thing I've liked was, especially this season we've seen with the Bracket Challenge and March Madness, is that how is it that we can have 40 to 60 trucks, cars, whatever it may be in the field, and still at the end of the race, those two guys managed to find each other? I mean, that's exactly what happened tonight between Kevin Freese and Colin Bowden. Then, of course, Logan York and Matthew Patton. We had the photo finish, and you know, a couple cautions early on, a couple cautions late, a couple cautions in the middle, but it didn't matter because we got the photo finish. And I've always said that if you get a photo finish, it can erase everything that happened before. It's exactly what it was. And man, what a race. Looks like Baker's shown that the official scoring was .0001 in terms of margin of victory. So yeah, definitely the closest finish we ever had in PGR. And boy, it was a fun one to call there at the end.
Oh, I mean, tons of fun. I mean, the closest finish I've ever seen. Literally, was too close for me to call until I actually was able to pull up the official results. I had to wait for it to all update over. I had no idea. We obviously had to take several looks, and even after that, we couldn't tell who won. I mean, that's just like Kevin said, like Jason said, you just love for races to end like that, where you're not tearing up trucks, where you're getting everybody clean the line. You had 9 trucks under a blanket. Everybody was pushing for all their worth there. That's the kind of stuff that we love about this kind of racing. That makes it really fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to call and really sets us up well for the Final Four going forward.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Again, Ghost Racing Network going to be back tomorrow night for the Asphalt Outlaw Racing Truck Series. Make sure you tune in for that one. But until next Thursday when PGR returns, that's it for me, Austin Green, Dawson Wise, and Matthew Baker here on Ghost Racing Network. I hope you all again enjoy